Adam Schefter is joining us now. Adam, what can you tell us about why Washington went with the Washington football team name?
Dinah, there is so much that a team has to get done before it puts together an actual nickname. And if you remember, on July 3rd, the Washington football team announced that it would engage in a thorough review of its name to see where it would go going forward. And obviously, they're not going to be using the Redskins, and they're going to be spending the next 50 days expunging that name from FedEx Field, from the training facility, from the social media online accounts. Wherever they have the Redskins name, that's going to be retired, they hope, by the time the season starts, or is scheduled to start, on September 13th at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. In the interim, there's so much to do in terms of a new logo, uniform. There are people that have trademarks on various names because they've been waiting for this day, waiting to see when the Washington football franchise, the Washington football team, would be changing names and going away from the Redskins, as they've decided to do within the last month. And so there is so much trademark legal work that has to be done. They can't get this done on time, and meanwhile rookies are showing up to work. Chase Young signed today, so they had to go with something. They went with the Washington football team. They changed the Redskins name that was on the front of the jersey to Washington. You see the helmets, they took the Redskins logo off and put up the player's number in gold on the helmet, and that will be the new uniform and the new look and the new design for this season when they call themselves the Washington football team. Just too much work to do. This is work that usually takes teams 18 to 24 months before they can get it done. They were fast-tracking this as much as possible, but the timing was such that, again, rookies are reporting, training camp is getting underway soon. They needed to go in a certain direction with the NFL, and so they're going, for the time being, with Washington football team as a placeholder until they can come up with the new nickname for this franchise.
Yeah, Adam Schefter breaking that story. Hashtag HTTWFT seems to be the popular thing to do right now for Washington football fans. But let's bring in ESPN.com, Washington's reporter John Keim here. John's covered this team for over 20 years here. And John, you've kept a close eye on this story. What's been the reaction from the players and even from the city over the last hour or so?
Well, I think the city has kind of been for some people, I think it feels like a big letdown because they were expecting some new name, and there was certainly some favorites that people wanted. And then I think the reaction also mirrors some of that of the players. For example, there's one player that I had texted throughout the process about this. And a couple weeks ago, he told me that he was actually kind of looking forward to the change after it was announced they're going to change, because he felt like they could be a part of something new and fresh here. And he was looking forward to that. And after this happened today, I texted him, and his reaction was kind of like what Adam was saying. This is such an important thing that I'm glad they're going to take the time to get it right. And then I texted another player who I think had the same reaction that a lot of people did. And his reaction was, this is something that people have been calling them for a while, and it's already on some of their gear. So as he said, it's not the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah, and obviously this organization needing that time, as Adam alluded to come up with the perfect name that will work. But certainly this is something that I know tons of reporters that have covered this team, and I think even fans never thought they'd see this in their lifetime. But it seems that this is moving in a direction, as it is, to a new name, which I'm sure we'll find out by next year. That being said, let's bring our panel in. We've got Dan Graziano, we have Rob Ninkovich, Marcus Spears here with us today. Hi, guys. Welcome into NFL Live. So happy to see all of you. And Marcus, I want to start with you. I just want your reaction to Washington's name announcement today.
I don't have a visceral reaction. I think the name is a byproduct of the fact that Dan Snyder said he would never change the name, and not being prepared for this moment. Listen, even in between the time when they announced that they were changing the name, I don't believe that was enough time to go through trademarking and copywriting and changing names. But this is something that's been talked about for years. A lot of people have suggested that Dan Snyder changed the name, and he was quoted as saying, "I will never change the name." So he's caught off guard. Obviously, these sponsors, when we heard about them pulling money to Nike, to FedEx, or what have you, that changed everything about the narrative of keeping the old name of Washington's football team. So listen, Washington football team is what it is because Dan Snyder said he would never change the name until his hand was forced to change the name, and he's not prepared to have something else in place to rename what their team will be for the long term.
All right, so Rob, that being said, you know, the team doesn't have a real name at this point. They're just the Washington football team. So if you were a player playing in Washington right now, how would you feel about playing for a team with no name?
Well, I think first of all, they can't just rush into having a new name. I understand that aspect of it, and the time frame doesn't allow that to happen, to take place. So, you know, as a player, you know, when I was playing football, you're the mascot or who you're, you know, the Patriots, all that stuff. It's cool to have that, but I don't think the guys are it's gonna distract them from not playing up to the levels that they're supposed to play at. So for them at this moment, you know, they still are rocking the same colors. You know, so I don't think it's gonna affect the team, so to speak, and I think it's probably the right decision to not just jump to a name right now in a rush. So for them to be the Washington team, I mean, that's what it is. So they're just going to have to deal with it, go out there and perform, and you know, they'll figure it out. Maybe they can make it a fan vote or something, make it intriguing to where the new name would be a reveal, and then it would be a big deal to have the reveal. So I think as far as the player's concerned, it's not going to affect their performance in any way.
Yeah, that being said, Graz, where do we go from here?
Yeah, Diana, I mean, look, once they've made the decision to go with Washington football team for the 2020 season, that buys them some time. You heard Adam reference the 18 to 24 month time frame that some people have put on the process of a name change. So it's not out of the question to think they could be Washington football team for longer than just this year, while they continue to work through everybody they have to run the name change by, and whether they have to work on getting a trademark that somebody else already has. Those kinds of things are all in play. So yeah, I mean, I think Marcus's point is correct. This is sort of what happens when you ignore a long-term opportunity to make a change, and then the necessity of change is thrust upon you, as it was Dan Snyder, by that sponsor pressure. But I think at this point, they're going to take their time. They're definitely committed to using this non-name for the 2020 season, and possibly beyond if it takes that long to get the name that they ultimately want.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, other news out of Washington today wasn't just about the name. They signed their first-round pick, Chase Young, as he indicated in a tweet this morning. Actually, he posted a photo with the caption, "Time to leave my legacy." Washington hasn't officially announced the deal with Young, but they certainly retweeted it, along with changing their Twitter handle to their current team name, the Washington football team. So obviously really good news there out of Washington as they sign up their young rookie. All right, still to come here, coming up, he has arrived after tweeting about returning to play and questioning the